Oh my God. Hi.
I was gonna dress up because, it's Kingsman, and every YouTuber, it's like a requirement for being a YouTuber. You have to dress like someone from the movie, and since it's Kingsman, it's a shirt and tie and suit, but my suit has the only shirt that goes with it properly is dirty, so. Kingsman 2 seems to confirm this pattern I have with sequels to action movies that come out in 2017. This happened with John Wick, this happened with Guardians, and now it's happening with Kingsman, where everybody unanimously agrees the first movie is better, except for me. Despite the fact that the two movies are very similar, I always seem to love the second one more. They seem more snappier, they're newer, they're fresher, and they're just an improved version of the first movie. That's really all I want. The basic plot to Kingsman: The Gold Circle is very, very similar to the first one in the idea that something common, some household item, I guess, that everybody uses is suddenly used to turn against them, and suddenly the whole world's at stake by some evil celebrity superpower person. In the first movie, it was Samuel L. Jackson with people's cell phone chips, and in this movie, it's Julianne Moore and drugs. I guess drugs are a household thing now. Now, I think Kingsman 1 was a very decent movie throughout, and then had one really awesome church scene in it. This movie's not like that at all. This movie is just very good consistently pretty much throughout. There is no one big church scene, but there are a bunch of smaller little scenes that kind of do that. So it keeps the rhythm going, and it keeps the movie moving forward a lot more than just, spiking in the middle and then being otherwise, I think, insignificant. When you have a movie like this with a ginormous cast, Jeff Bridges, Channing Tatum, Taron Egerton, Mark Strong, Colin Firth, Julianne Moore, Halle Berry, not everybody gets equal amounts of time, and I'd say for Jeff Bridges that's okay, because he's the head of the Statesman. He just kind of sits down at the table and gives people orders. He's not out in the field at all. But Channing Tatum is pretty much benched for almost the whole movie, and I thought we'd see a lot more of him than he did. But the statesman that we do spend the most of the time with is Whiskey. He's the guy with the mustache and the lasso doing that revolver thing in the snow, which was awesome when it happened. And I just really love the idea of the statesman, of American version of Kingsman. If Kingsman were whiskey-selling, American, Kentucky-based secret agents, that's exactly what this would be like. I think the action in Kingsman 2 is a lot more entertaining and happens a lot more frequently than it did in Kingsman 1. There's a scene where Whiskey's in a bar basically repeating the manners, maketh man thing that Colin Firth did. Using his lasso, and he's doing all these sick-ass lasso stunts, and I would be more impressed if they obviously weren't CGI when they're obviously CGI. Still cool, though. He's, cutting people in half and grabbing guns and chairs and flipping them across the room. It's really cool. Most of the cool action revolves around this guy. When they're, up skiing in the Alps, there's this big snow thing, he's just taking people out left and right. It is sick. These are, my favorite kinds of scenes in movies. This is pretty much what I live for in film. When you'll have the camera zoom in, it'll be in slow motion, something will, flip up, someone will, pull the barrel of a gun, and music will kick up, and it's just this scene of action, and it's great. And like I said, it's a bunch of mini Kingsman church scenes. Something that probably should have been a stupid subplot that I actually liked was with Eggsy and his girlfriend. The thing that was a sex object in the last movie is actually now his girlfriend that he loves. So they have this whole thing about him being faithful to her, and I thought it was really good, to the point where I'm like, oh, Eggsy, you're such a gentleman. My two favorite characters in the whole movie are probably Whiskey and Merlin. Merlin's got a bunch of great lines, and he's doing all kinds of cool stuff, and at the end of the movie, he's got my favorite scene in the whole movie. I'm just like, that was amazing. The movie switches to IMAX frame a couple times. I didn't know that going in, so that was a nice surprise when they have this giant, tram ski car thing sliding down the snow, and it's just something boop, and I'm like, ooh, oh, ooh, it goes back and forth a little bit, so I'm like, oh, ooh, because me, I like IMAX. The movie definitely steps over into comic book land a couple times where I'm like, that's just dumb. Especially with people's aim. Colin Firth's got that, bulletproof umbrella thing, but they're always standing completely up, and it only covers up here. And it's like, hey, villains, can you not aim a foot down and shoot at their legs? Now, they do have bulletproof suits, but still, they show no one even bothering with that. And, this Wall-E style tower of people in cages in a stadium, I'm just like, what the hell is this bullshit? Especially when the villain mini-boss guy's got a robot arm, and he decides to throw Eggsy around. Instead of just, punching a hole in his skull with the arm, just so it gets a little over the top from time to time, but on the whole, I thought it was very snappy, very entertaining, very good step up. I liked it a lot more than the first Kingsman. Say the whole thing with Harry. Now, it's not a spoiler talking about this because it was in the first trailer, it was in the second trailer, it was in the third trailer, and he's on the freaking poster as you're walking into the theater. Harry with his black eye, so we know Harry survived the headshot to the head. Initially, I was okay with knowing that because I really liked Colin Firth and I definitely wanted to see him in the sequel, but the director just came out and said that was a huge spoiler and I think they might have ruined my movie. So I'm curious now what the movie would have been like if I hadn't known that going in. It's too late now, everybody already knows. So this is a really funny movie too. I laughed in Kingsman a lot harder than I did in Baywatch. Kingsman 2 is a lot more emotional than the first movie. Kingsman 2 is a lot funnier than the first movie. Kingsman 2 is a lot snappier and faster than the first movie, and I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun. I'm probably going to go see it again with the rest of my friends. I gave Kingsman 2 the Golden Circle an 8 out of 10. John Wick had me feeling the same way too. It's like shirts and ties, guns, and alcohol. It's like my 3 favorite things wrapped up in a movie. So stylish, so fun, so cool. And when the movie came out, my Cinemark app gave me a notification on my phone. It's like, you spend your points to get Kingsman Reward Whiskey, and I'm like, oh. And then I click on it, and the sentence didn't finish because it's a notification. So it's like, Kingsman Whiskey rocks. Aw, man, I got so excited. I don't know why. So please make a Kingsman brand Scotch, whiskey, and clothing, Taylor style stuff, or even if you don't want to go through the trouble of making your own alcohol, just print the labels on the side of tumblers, man. I'd totally buy that.